Today we're gonna working on Leetcode question number 282, expression add operators. So we have been given a string num that contains only digits and an integer target. Return all possibilities to insert the binary operators plus, minus, and or multiplication. Okay, between the digits of num so that the resultant between the digits of num so that the resultant expression evaluates to the target value. Note that operands in the returned expression should not contain leading zeros. So if we have the num equals to 1, 2, 3 and the target is 6, we're going to be doing 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 and 1 plus 2 plus 3. These are two solutions which is gonna be part of the result, because 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 becomes equal to 6, and similarly 1 plus 2 plus 3. So we can use three different expressions, plus, negative, and multiplication, in order to evaluate the target. Okay, we're gonna be doing the backtracking in order to achieve that. So for that, we're gonna have a list of string which is gonna be our like the final result we're gonna be sending back. Okay, so a sanity check would be like if the basically if the num is equal to null, or if the length is equal to 0, right? Num dot length equals to 0. In any case, we can just return the result, which would be an empty array list, and result. Okay, then if that is not the case, we're going to be using the helper function. In the helper function, we're going to be sending the current result, which is basically an empty array list, and then we're going to be sending the path, which is like the current path, which is going to be which is eventually going to get added to the result if the evaluated thing becomes equals to the target's one. So there is a second one. Second one is our path. Then we're gonna be having like the number, which we're gonna be using every single digit of that number, and then we definitely send the target, right? Target, and then we're gonna be sending three things. First is the position. We need to send the position, so initial position is gonna be 0. Then we need to send the evaluated, the current evaluated result, which is gonna be again 0, and the running evaluated, the current and the running one. Yeah, because it always require two operands in order to do the operation. So we're gonna need a current one and a running sum. Both are gonna be initialized to 0, and in the end we're gonna be just returning the result. So the last thing is to implement this helper function. Again, it takes the result, it takes a path, which is initialized as empty string. It takes the number in the form of a string. It takes a target. Okay, it takes a target, and it takes a position. It takes an evaluated result and a running result. The only thing is that let's make this one long, because that is the evaluated result, and both of them should be long, and then the running one that can possibly go a little bit higher than what an integer can take care of. So our base condition is going to be that if the position has become equal to the num dot length, that's the first time L-E-N-G-T-I, that's the first time we want to do a check. What we want to check is if the target has become equal to the evaluated, uh, the target has become exactly equal to evaluated, although their types are different, but that should do it. In that case, we're gonna be adding the path to the result, and once we do that, we can just return. We don't have to do anything else. Okay, now we don't have to put the else one because we already return once we do add it. So in the for loop, we're gonna say our I goes from the position and it goes up to the length of the num. Okay, so the first thing is that first thing we want to check if like uh, so the first thing is that if we haven't like if our I is not the position we're working on, right, and we are on a character which is equal to 0, we don't want to move forward with that. If our I is not equal to the position, like this is not the first one, right? uh, if it is not the first one and the num dot character at the 0th position is equal to a 0, we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to go forward. This is because uh, should not contain the leading zeros, right? So if it should not contain the leading zeros, we're gonna break it that this is not the possible. Like we don't wanna because if it is a preceding zero, like the zeroth, the first number, like the num is 0 and we are not on that position, we just wanna go to the next one because at that time we don't want to do the processing. Okay, now one thing we want to do is we want to say what is the current value. That is, you can actually need to parse the the position the number with a substring, and substring is gonna be the position starting from the position to I plus 1. So basically what we're saying is like starting from the position to whatever I, because we're gonna be sorry, yeah, because our I keeps changing, so every single time we're gonna be trying different ones. We are actually saying that in 1 2 3, one time we're gonna be creating one out of it, then 1 2, which is 12, and then the third time we want to use 123. So we are actually taking out different numbers from the num, and that's gonna be our current. Okay, if the position is equal to 0, right, if it is 0, all we have to do is to call the helper function with the result and path plus current, right, and num is not gonna change, the target never changes, and then our position is gonna be I plus 1, and this is gonna be current, this is gonna be current. Why is that? Because this is the first time we are processing it, right? The position is just 0. We don't want to be changing the anything in the anything in the current number, which is the evaluated number, and the running sum. We don't want to change any of that, right? And we don't want to, with the path is just gonna add, like the current is just gonna add to the path. We don't have to add the plus sign or negative sign or anything like that. Otherwise, if it is not the case, if the position is not equal to 0, we have to try three things. We have to add, we have to try a plus sign, a negative sign, and a multiplication sign. So the result is gonna stay the same. The path is gonna say that I am adding plus sign, and then the current, the current, and then num, and the target is not changing in any of these cases. This is always gonna be I plus 1. But now when we are using the plus sign, we're gonna say evaluated value is the evaluated plus the current, and the current stays the same. The second time we're gonna do the negative. We're gonna try to do minus. So for that we're gonna say path plus negative plus current num target I plus 1 evaluated minus current and negative of current. And the third time we're gonna try to do multiplication. For that we're gonna say path plus multiplication plus current, num doesn't change, target doesn't change, I plus 1 doesn't change. This time the evaluated is, like, because there are two operands, we are removing the previous one, running, evaluated minus running, and then we're gonna be adding the running multiplication with the current. And similarly this one, the current is gonna get multiplied with the running one. So that being said, once we do these three using this backtracking, we should get to, it's like we are trying to exhaust all the possible scenarios here, and trying to come up with different solutions, uh, which is gonna get us to the target. There's a problem here because we don't want to check at that one. What we wanted to check is, like, when the I is not equal to the position and the nums at that one, like, where we are starting, that character is equal to 0, then we want to break it. We don't want to check every single time the zeroth character, and because we are looking at the preceding zeros, starting from the position. So let's try that. So we have another typo here. Oops. How did we get into this one? Okay. Looking good. And it works.